Hi, this is the second installment of information regarding gastrointestinal disorders and discussing the journey on the road to wellness and helping the body to heal when it has been injured as a result of either a nutritional issue or maybe it's a bacterial issue. But when you're suffering from colitis or Crohn's or an irritable bowel disorder, what you're really suffering from is injury to the colon. And so it's important to understand the cause of that injury. And in the first installment of this series of videos, I discussed how these people who suffer from gastrointestinal disorders are really suffering many times from sugar problem, the inability to break down complex carbohydrates or actually manage fructose and the body's ability to use it and absorb it. Often there is a deficiency in this area or some type of abnormality. And either through repeated injury, the body becomes compromised and unable to digest more complex sugars. And when I say complex sugars, I'm not just talking like table sugar or maple syrup. I'm talking about foods that are grains, basically. Rice, wheat, quinoa. These foods that are considered super nutritious, nutritionally dense, nutritionally rich, are also very hard for the body to digest. And that's part of what makes them so good for us, because the body works, it expends calories to break these foods down, and then there's so much nutritional value in the outer coating and the fiber and how it helps to cleanse the colon. And then so these foods that are nutritionally dense and healthy also require the body to work very hard. And in people who have suffered from injuries, from gastrointestinal disorders, this work can in fact cause the body to become injured. Or if the body's already injured, it can lead to further injury. And so even though foods can be very healthy and nutritious, it doesn't mean that these foods are good for you in particular. There's also another category of foods that can lead to a lot of difficulty and additional injury. And those foods are your greens, your salad greens, your vegetables that are really high in fiber, fruits that are high in fiber, that require the digestive process to really work to break down the sugars or the starches and make them available to the body. So it's really important to understand what the body is having to do to the food to make the nutrients accessible. The heart of the body has to work, and the intestinal system, the gastrointestinal system has to work. In a person who's already compromised, you can experience additional injury. So when trying to address your disorder, whether it be chronic diarrhea or heartburn or stomach cramping, bloating, pain, it is critical to look at the nutritional components of your lifestyle. It's not enough to just use medication. Medication might deal with the symptoms, but in dealing with gastrointestinal disorders, it's critical to deal with the origin of the problem. And in so many cases, the origin of the problem is nutrition. It's the diet. It's what the person's actually eating on a daily basis. And the things that we eat, even those things that are considered super healthy, might also be super injurious to the body. So I have personally started the specific carbohydrate diet in order to begin the healing process in my own life. And as someone suffering from celiac, who, I've been living gluten-free for the past 2.5 years, I still wasn't feeling healed. I was feeling like I was dealing with setbacks almost every other day, even when I was keeping gluten out of my diet. And what I found after doing a little bit of research is that it's not enough for most people dealing with celiac or gluten intolerance. It's not enough just to eliminate gluten and wheat. Many times, in order for the body to heal after it's been injured for so long, it's critical that you remove complex sugars. And so and some vegetables actually that cause the body to work very hard. So we're talking eliminating corn and wheat, of course, rice and barley and quinoa and amaranth and any of the grains, as well as eliminating the very fibrous vegetables. And it's not an easy process, but there is healing in dealing with the elimination of certain foods that are leading to injury. And it can be different for everybody. The thing about the specific carbohydrate diet is that it tells you a list of foods based on their structure. And that structure, whether it's a simple sugar or complex sugar, helps you to know what to keep in your diet and what to leave out. It also deals with fruits and vegetables that can actually put stress and strain on the body to break down, and tells you what you can eliminate, what you can eat. So for me, the specific carbohydrate diet has been a lifesaver. I actually became vegan for a period of time because I thought that would get me to a state of wellness and health and wholeness. And actually, at the end of 30 days, I had gone into a vegan lifestyle believing it would be permanent. But at the end of almost 30 days, I was the sickest I had been in my life. I was the most injured. I knew I was in crisis. And the thing that pulled me out of the crisis was a specific carbohydrate diet. I immediately, once I got a hold of the information, began stripping all those illegal items out of my diet, and the healing began. It wasn't enough though just to strip foods out of my diet. I had to put the right foods in. And for me, I discovered that I was allergic to cow's milk products, and so I had to begin using goat milk for cheese and yogurt. And so the thing that I found is that in exploring nutrition as a means to healing from gastrointestinal disorders, you really have to look at nutrition comprehensively. And it's not just enough to think about things in terms of healthy and unhealthy. You have to think of things in terms of healing and wholeness and things that can cause injury, and become aware of what your body is telling you regarding certain food items. One way to really come to understand your body and how it's processing food is to keep a journal, is to eliminate as many items as you can from your diet, get it down to the real, simple components. For me, it was, a piece of chicken or a hamburger patty, or, some chicken soup, some cheese and yogurt, very simple foods. Cooked carrots. When I began to actually add vegetables back into my diet, I cooked them for an hour. It didn't matter what the vegetable was, it had to cook for an hour before I could eat it. It's a slow process, but it's worth the effort, it's worth the work. The other component of dealing with gastrointestinal disorders is incorporating supplements, and that includes probiotics, which are critical. 100 billion living organisms per capsule is absolutely essential. For me, I take approximately 2 to 4 capsules a day, so that's 200 to 400 billion live organisms per capsule a day in order to repair the gut. It's critical. Eating homemade yogurt that I've allowed to culture for 24 hours as part of the specific carbohydrate diet. I also include magnesium and zinc for cell repair, vitamin B12 to help the intestinal muscles work properly. Vitamin D3 is critical as well for repair of injured tissue. There's so many things that we can do to take control of our lives. And so again, I'm here in the second installment giving a little more information about how diet can play a big part in the injury process, and so therefore can also play a big part in the healing process. And this is not to say not to use pharmaceuticals. It's just to say pharmaceuticals will treat symptoms. Nutrition goes to the root of the problem. And that's not in all cases, but in many cases. And so I'm here as a gastrointestinal disease consultant to help walk you through the process to healing. Sometimes, and many times we just can't do it alone. And my name is Tiffany Sloan. My company is Purest Purist, and I look forward to having the opportunity to work with you. Thank you so much. Feel free to contact me at the email address listed under the description of this video. Thank you.